California Supreme Court may have upheld the state's ban on same-sex marriage, but that's certainly not the end of the story. Today, supporters of gay marriage are fighting back with a new lawsuit and talk of going back to the voters. But could a divide between the gay community and other minority groups doom the effort? Erica, Jessica, Lisa, and Steve are here, along with Reverend Byron Williams, pastor of Resurrection Community Church in Oakland. Reverend Williams is a member of a group called African American Ministers in Action, which is a project of the liberal-leaning organization People for the American Way. All right, Jessica, some new developments here?
Yeah, quickly, just the news today is that, first of all, this effort, the ruling has fired up supporters of gay marriage who have started a massive fundraising effort to get gay marriage legalized on the 2010 ballot. So on the political front, another vote. But then in the courts today, a very odd couple got behind the push to get judges to overturn the recent ruling on Prop 8. Lawyers who argued on opposite sides of the 2000 Bush-Gore recount, they've teamed up to challenge the California ruling. So David Boies, who argued for Al Gore, and Ted Olson, who was a Bush attorney, say they're joining forces to show that gay marriage is a bipartisan issue. They think the courts made a wrong decision yesterday.
You gotta love that.
It's an odd couple.
You just do. But, you know, just because lawyers are on opposite sides of the case don't mean that they hate each other.
Good point. All right, now, Byron, Prop 8 passed by a majority in part because of support from some minority groups, especially African-American churches in California. Do you think there's a divide between the gay community and other minority groups?
Well, first of all, the first thing I would say is the attention given to the African-American community's vote in Prop 8, I think, is a little overstated. African-Americans made up less than 10% of the voting electorate in the last election. Prop 8 was defeated in practically every county in California except for those on the coast. So there's no large black population in the Inland Valley per se. So I think that it's overstated. With that said, I would also say that homophobia definitely exists within the black church. There's a lot of work that, like the group I'm working with, People for the American Way, that we have to do to sort of debunk that, to sort of change some of those existing feelings.
And of course, Reverend Williams, part of that was because the initial report said that 70% of African Americans voted against, but later folks came back and said no, about 58%. So that's probably one of the reasons why that came out there. Erica?
Well, just in terms of religion, because there's been so much talk about the role of religion in the votes here and how it played out with Proposition 8. Should this be, you're a pastor, but should religion really come into play here, or should that decision on marriage be left up to different religions, different faiths to make, and leave this to be more of a civil matter? And if that's the case, why should God enter in at all?
Well, I think you make a great point, because in addition to being a pastor, I still believe I'm the only syndicated columnist in the country. And I've been writing about this for a number of years, and I don't think this is not, we're talking about civil rights. So we're not talking about a religious issue. And so then if we're talking about civil rights, now we've got to go back to the Equal Protection Under the Law Clause, which I think clearly this denies. In California right now, as a result of the court's ruling, we have 3 class distinctions of people. We have one group who can get married, get divorced, and get remarried. Another group who can get married, get divorced, and cannot remarry. Then we got another group who can't do either one of those things. So I don't see how you can how the state can hold equal protection under the law and these conflicting results at the same time. It seems to go against our democratic values.
Reverend Williams, let me tell you, I've been hearing from a lot of gay marriage supporters in the last couple of days, especially in the wake of the California ruling yesterday, a lot of just dismay and a lot of sort of overheated rhetoric about how awful this is. But in the big picture, isn't there sort of an inevitability to all of this? I mean, there was a similar ballot measure in California, 8 years ago, and it passed with 64%. Now you're down to 52%. Now you've got 4 states legalizing it. You've got people under 35 supporting it overwhelmingly. I mean, isn't this just really a question of time, and we shouldn't be exercised about it?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. The trajectory, regardless of what side of the issue you're on, is definitely headed toward full marriage equality for gay, lesbian, transgender community. That's the direction. And I've seen polling even recently that has a percentage of people that has the majority favoring same-sex marriage now. So this is inevitable.
Let me interrupt for a minute and ask you, Lisa, because you're a civil rights attorney in New York and California. What do you make of this decision? Do you think this is a civil rights issue?
I think it's a huge civil rights issue, and this is the first court ruling that I'm aware of that says that a majority vote, a bare majority vote, can take away the constitutional rights of a protected minority group. You know, Brown versus Board of Education was very unpopular at the time. It wasn't up for a majority vote, and neither have any of the civil rights of American minorities ever been up for a popular vote. That's the beauty of our constitutional system. So this is that's why it doesn't surprise me that Ted Olson and David Boies have joined together now to make a federal civil rights case out of it.
All right. Well, panel, hold tight 1 second. Reverend Williams, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.